I call the meeting to order.
It's gonna be in slow motion because it's a short meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Kirby, please call the roll.
Trustee Delmar. Here. Trustee McNeil.
Here.
Trustee Larson.
Here.
Trustee DeGrove. Here. Supervisor Rush.
Here. Can I get approval of the minutes dated August 11th?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Just a typo. Culverts are not culvers, there's typo. I'm sure,
In Bob's report.
no,
No,
in the minutes. In the minutes, it
What
comes up
page?
at least twice, wherever it's supposed to be culvert with a
6B,
T.
third line, far right.
And then it's later on.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not going to culvers.
No, we're not going to call it. Okay.
That's the only.
Oh, you just need to put the key.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
All right, with correction. Any other discussion? No? Call the roll, please.
Let's see.
Morrison and
Uh,
McNeil.
Trustee DeGrove.
Yes,
Trustee Delmar.
Abstain, because I wasn't here.
Trustee McNeil.
Aye.
Trustee Larson.
Aye.
Supervisor Rush.
Aye. Do we have any public participation on agenda items only? No. Reports. I don't know if you've noticed when you were going through the bills, but we had some lights replaced, and that's because every single one of them were out. You'll also notice that we replaced the sensors with LED, which is a $500 difference, which I have the two proposals right here. Was a $500 difference. We will recover it within the first year of the savings. The other thing is, let's see, what else do I have? Should have written everything down, lights. We filled up some backpacks. We have thank you notes, which you might have seen on the bulletin boards out there. I believe we packed 30 backpacks per school, and the schools were very appreciative. As usual, we always have fun as a group packing them up. So we did that. And we are still delivering Meals on Wheels. We were actually invited to a like a gathering type thing. Unfortunately, it's on the same day of our October meeting, so I'm going to be unable to attend. Touch Truck is moving along fine. We are getting a lot of people that have not participated before who want to participate. A-Tire is bringing a tow truck. And we actually are going to talk to Jack's over on the corner there, Big Jack's, to see if possibly they might want to donate up to 100 hot dogs so that we can, they can get their business out there too. And then we can feed people because I guess it was kind of surprised some people that we don't feed anybody, so. We have water, we're making sure that's something to drink, but.
usually Touch a Truck doesn't have a lot of food because certain trucks, they don't want food.
Yeah, well,
People that have vintage,
we don't usually do vintage or antique things like that.
Watch my track.
That's my tractor. That
No
is
hot dogs
my
on your
tractor. I will make sure it gets cleaned and things like that. Lupe and I are scheduled to go to a Gotti training. It's general assistance training in October. You might have seen that in there as well. The other thing was, we are now starting, everybody has a little packet that is for and I would like to have this before, by our October meeting to know who will be attending. So if you will be attending, please let me know so we can because I know that the rooms do fill up kind of fast.
They're quite extensive, and we have 3 copies here if you want to look through the entire program. That's just a cover sheet.
There was one other thing. No, my brain is just going to mush. Oh, I do need one trustee to be present. at our November meeting, we will have our insurance. It will be due, but he will not have anything for us to go through until November, so I'd like somebody who will be able to come in during the day to step up so that they can be a part of it, so that they know what's going on with the insurance process, and he'll present it to us, because it has to be completed by December 1st. So, and he won't be able to get it to us until November 1st. So it's kind of, we'll get the paperwork, we'll present it to you, and then it has to be approved at the November meeting. So I was thinking if it was, right now it's Dave and myself, but if I could have one trustee step up and help out, to be present at the meeting, that way we'll have more ears listening as well.
When is the meeting, Michael?
And no, the one in November, it's on the third Monday because of the fact, I think it's November 17th. I don't know, check this out. Because it's moved because of,
Yeah, that would be the 17th.
yeah, it's the 17th, it's November 17th. So he said he will come in as soon after November 1st. I would like him here between the 3rd and the 7th. And it will be, he usually schedules his meetings at about 10 o'clock with Jeff. So it's just a renewal of our insurance, and Bob met with us today as well, so. Okay, I think that's all I have. Oh, and all my regular reports are in there, and as I stated too, Clark now sends monthly reports, so I have included that in our packet as well. Oh, there was one other thing. One tiny other thing. You'll also notice on the bills that mosquito, will need to move some money for mosquitoes, but they did one more mosquito spray, so I didn't want to move it this time, because I wanted to wait until the bills moved over, so we'll have to move some money so that we can spray for, so we can cover, because they did a couple of extra sprayings that they did, not did last year. Right, that is it. Next, we have Highway Commissioner Kula.
You'll have a copy of my report, I believe. So we've been cutting brush and patching this past month. We'll be doing that actually right up until winter. We have a lot of brush to cut, so we do that because as the heavy snow gets on it, it starts leaning out of the road. So we'll be doing a lot of brush cutting, like I said, right through probably into November. And we also took some more ash trees down. We'll continue with that. There's still a lot of ash trees to go. We're gonna, probably go a bunch more next year, but we're just doing as many as we can. And then, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ron Crook, but he's a public works director over at Round Lake, so he volunteered his jet rotor again for us over on Nippersink. I don't know if any of you travel on Nippersink, but in the wintertime we get an ice problem over there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So we had them come through with their jet rotor and clean out all the culverts over there, but a bigger part of it is just actually a little bit west of there's a ditch line that really needs to be cleaned out. We're gonna do that. I've been kind of holding off on it because I'm kind of dreading it, because there's a 20-inch gas main, forced gas main, 20-inch, right underneath it, and NICOR has to be out there while we dig. That's kind of, and there's an 8-inch gas main next to it, so it's gonna be a little dicey. But we're gonna go at it before, they don't, what I find interesting is NICOR doesn't know the depth of a gas, of a 20-inch forced gas main. It blows me away, but anyway, that's it.
Let's hope literally.
No, it's not.
Wrong choice of words.
It was, wasn't it?
But it just amazes me.
We'll be thinking carefully, but if we can get through there and get that cleaned out, I think that'll alleviate the water problem we have in the winter, because we're freezing up over there, the water's crossing the Nippersink and freezing, and it's just been an ongoing battle, so that's what we're gonna attack it pretty soon here. So, then the next thing is on a note with the Clark, we're using larvicide tablets now in the basins. We did it last year, and we're doing it again this year. And there's a little pamphlet in there with it just explains the type of tablet we're using. It's just a really economically friendly, environmentally friendly tablet. It has very little impact on the environment, so, which is why we chose it. So we're putting those in all our storm basins. We've made it through Third Lake, Highland Lake, and we're working into Pleasant Hill and Shaw subdivision. It's gonna take a while over there. There's probably excess of a couple hundred basins over there, so we'll be busy over there for a while. And Lakeside's, you guys already know Lakeside's done, so we're still doing some restoration over there in the right of way. We have to do shouldering, some black dirt here and there, and then we're doing gravel shoulder where we can. And that's about that for there. And then, lastly, we're having our electronics collection November 15th. It'll be our second one, so I don't know if you can get that on the marquee whenever you can.
I'll put it on after
After.
truck because we have a lot of
Right,
stuff on
and
there.
it's probably a little bit early, and they're gonna, like you say,
They'll forget it.
they'll forget about it, right? So, I did, on an insurance note, we already sent an email out to the insurance guy with the square footage of all the buildings, so we can verify that with them, that we're at the correct square footage, because I'm a little concerned about that. So,
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
any questions?
All right, Assessor Denton has a report. Well, the assessment notices were published on August 13th. They did extend their hours. The hours on the assessment notices do say 5 o'clock. However, they have notices on both of the doors saying that even though it says 5 o'clock, they're only going to be here till 4:30. So they extended their hours 1 week earlier than we did, from summer hours to regular hours, but their regular hours are just till 4:30. Talks about the county has received about 365 appeals, and he says the number of appeals at this time is down from last year. And then he has some goals for November. Any questions on his report? You can ask him. Any other questions? Okay, Clerk Kirby.
You have my report, it's pretty simple. You did not get the numbers for the volunteer report because we had no new volunteers. So we didn't want to waste paper. And, but we did get a new FOIA, not a FOIA. And this is a woman that's FOIA before, and I asked for an extension, mainly because we're coordinating the responses. It was actually taken to court, and it was deemed that she didn't have a right to ask for the FOIA that she asked for originally. So she's amended the FOIA and asked another one, so I'm working with other clerks. She's done the same FOIA to a lot of the clerks' offices. I'm not worried about it because basically she can get that information from our audit, and so I'll just direct it to our audit, but I want to make sure that we're all in line since there's been a court case with it. So that's the only one that we have up that's pending and ask for an extension. I did want to give you some information. Police already told you about the Rise and Challenge conference that you're going to attend, but right behind my report is some documents that I received from the Lake County Community Development Commission data. And I think it's important for us to know this because it talks about the poverty rate in Lake County. It's broken down for all and also children and Illinois and the United States. There was a dip in 2011-12, mostly because we saw a decrease in the number of homeless. And if you turn the page, you can see the homeless. The commission really is about looking at how we make sure that we have affordable housing for everyone. But the census data that talks about poverty, I think, pertains to really what we do within GA. It still shows a tremendous need in this area, which we all know, but now we have the data to back it up. We still have in Lake County, as of 2014, as a point of this reference, 404 known homeless. And of course, you know that's always a hard number to get because homeless people don't step up to the plate and say, hey, I'm homeless. So usually find them.
Yes.
Also, the next page shows some characteristics of the homeless. According to the 2014 PID count. And even though I may think that these estimates are pretty low, I really do think, especially for the mental illness, that it's low. It does show you that families is a great need. The children, the number of children that are in poverty, and also the homeless with families is the bulk of the need. The most important thing, and I think is really picture when you go to the depiction of Lake County. The first one is the 2014, the current assessment, and there's the legend is at the bottom, and as you can see, the more orange that you have, the greater the degree of percentage of poverty. Now, all those areas that are white, of course, those aren't necessarily the Avon Township, but those don't, it doesn't mean there is no poverty, it means that there is under 33.77% poverty. So you can imagine in places that have, you know, multi-million-dollar homes, or, you know, those areas that have huge homes and expensive homes, that would offset the number of homeless because they have a greater number of those. So, but the next one shows the change, and I think that's from previous data. We are getting more and more people that are within the 70, the 50 to 70, which is the low income and the moderate income levels within Avon Township. And there's, we can see there's been drastic changes and a growth all throughout Lake County, but our area is getting to look more and more like Zion. So I wanted to give you the first one is the most current, and the other one is previous, so there's a lot less oranges in the previous. So just for your edification, so that you have the information, I thought it was valuable. And there's more pages that I didn't copy for you, and if you'd like to see it, how the county is trying to address the homeless situation, I'll be glad to forward it to you. But I think we need to think about that as we talk about our service to our public and to our residents and what we do for general assistance.
One of the things about general assistance and emergency assistance, as I'm taking more and more of the classes, is you get them in here, but they don't want to fill out the paperwork. They just do not want to fill out the paperwork. They, a lot of the general assistance and emergency assistance, people just want you to hand them over a check so that they can just get their bills paid. So we had a stack of about 15 people that should be coming back, and only 3 of them came back because they did not want to fill out the paperwork. And the paperwork is state required to be filled out. It's not something we're like making up, that it's documentation. So.
And I think that does prove that there's a tremendous amount of shame that comes with this. People are embarrassed, especially since we see a growing number of people that are reaching poverty, that were middle class, that were, you know, the lower end of middle class, and there's a lot of working poor, and there's a tremendous amount of shame that comes with not being able to feed your family. And so I think Lisa's right, they don't want to, you know, fill out the paperwork, but I think that just means we need to encourage them and make sure that, and we do a good job in our office.
Right,
I've seen Lisa, and they're very kind, and, you know, but we need to make sure it's as comfortable as possible for them to talk about us, to talk about their situation, and not be in the public arena, and make it as easy as possible.
In our situation, do you think the mental illness plays into those numbers, or is that not our demographic so
We
much?
don't have a lot of the mental illness ones in our area, and that come in to get assistance from us. When the mental health was downstairs, down the hall from us, we had more of them come in to try to get assistance, but now that they've moved, they don't come in as often.
And is this throughout townships, do they find these
Yes.
statistics to be
Yes.
similar,
Yes,
that like a third of them?
will come back because they don't want to fill out the paperwork. It is, I mean, if you've ever filled out Medicaid, or if you've ever, you know, any type of paperwork like that, it's a lot of paperwork that has to be completed just to, and one woman says, you want me to fill all of this out and my bill is only $117? Well, it's, do you want it to be paid or do you not want it to be paid? We need this for the state and for our audit, so.
I mean, I don't think it's unfair. I think there's definitely ways we can evaluate the approach and the language around it, you know. But I don't think it's unfair.
No. No. And we have even, a lot of the things we get are, one of the things that we started in our office is, one of the huge things that we need are birth certificates for all of the people within the house. Well, some of these people have no clue as to where their birth certificates are. So what we've done is we found a website, and we say, we'll get you your birth certificate, we're gonna split the cost with you. So if the state, like if you go into Lake County, I don't remember what it is, $10, say it is, it's $10, it comes $5 off of there, so a portion of that they will have to pay. There's always a small portion that they have to come with of their bill, because a lot of their bills we don't have the money to, with all of our different sources to cover it all. So we have to make sure that they will come up with some portion of their, so we don't think it's unfair to have them to pay, we get the copies for them, and then they get copies of their birth certificates, and now they have them again. So we are helping them out there. Another thing that we are starting, and Jeannie came back today and says, are we giving out gas cards? We're working on a plan where we are going to be giving out a gas card. It is going to be one per address per lifetime. So if, everybody, I'm just going to use for example, everybody in Chris's house, say Chris comes in and wants a gas card, and we're like, okay, here's your gas card, it's $25, we're going to give it to you, and that's it. Well, now, say your wife comes in and wants one, unfortunately, we're not going to give her one. It's going to be per family in the household. We're working out all the paperwork so that we can keep track of this. Once the new system is in place, it'll be a lot easier to be able to track as well. But we are going to be getting some gas cards and giving them to people, because that is a big thing that people request.
So
And
how
it
will
does-
this, what program is this? It comes out of GA?
General assistance.
It does lend itself to our discussion on outreach. How do we make sure that the people that need the support get the information about the support? And this is not just an Avon Township problem. Schools deal with this, the medical industry deals with this, but, because people generally don't know. And you couple on top of it, the tremendous hardship that comes with being poor and the embarrassment of it, and asking for help for a lot of people is really hard. How do we make sure that we're doing as much outreach as we can?
And one of the things that you find out, and even within the soccer organization, the people who actually need the money don't come forward and ask for it. They are too proud to, they don't want to come forward because they don't want you to know that they're in need. So we're gonna come up with ways of schools, letting the schools and everybody know that if they have a parent who is job searching, and the different organizations like BEST will know as well, so that that's how we have to get it out there for people. So
These very, the over 70% little neighborhoods, can we make those like target areas to just to distribute our surveys or anything?
no, Lupe says those, especially in those areas, they will not fill out a survey, and B, they will not.
Not I said survey, but I meant your brochure.
We could, but once again, she says it's not something that is, when we were making up the brochures, I said, do you think we should do some of these in Spanish? She says, I'll be happy to do them for you, but if you've ever noticed that when we have brochures, the English-speaking people will take them, but the Spanish-speaking, she'll give them brochures, and when they leave, the brochures are still sitting on the counter.
Well, there's a literacy too.
But if we put them in Spanish for her, then she just says it's not something that they're.
It's a cultural.
It's a cultural thing.
Cultural difference.
But even with that, even with all those things that makes it difficult to do that, it doesn't diminish our obligation to
No,
do the best.
we're going
the
to
best
try.
we can.
I mean, I've asked her to come up with one, so we will have a brochure, but I mean, to target and mail that to them, it would.
If we have some funds towards the end of the year, I would say mail it to those particular neighborhoods, or,
Which we do, because we haven't used anything in that area as well. Okay, no problem.
and then as funds become available, pick the next most in need, and use it as a pilot. Okay, I know you and Lupe have lots of hands-on experience, but there's a lot of assuming that no one's gonna respond to it, to the extra information, to an extra gesture from the township. So,
Is it,
you know, you do one small mailing, if you get zip, well, then we try something else.
Yeah, mano a mano, I guess, is where she's basing this on, because mano a mano used to mail out stuff a lot, and it was never responded
But to
to.
sit here,
could we,
just to sit here and say it's not gonna work, well, I
Well-
think we need to do a trial.
maybe
Right.
we could pick a Saturday, like when we campaigned,
Mm-hmm.
and if all of us went out on a Saturday and we each took 100 houses, I mean, how long would that take us? And we hand delivered them, there would also be the personal element as well, instead of just mailing it, A, would cut down mailing, but more importantly, it would be people coming to their house saying there's help for you, and handing a flyer, or putting it in the mailbox, or whatever. I mean, 100 houses, how long would that take us,
Right.
you know? I don't know, just, I'm
Fair
just putting it out there.
Well, I was thinking the same thing, was I was gonna ask for 100 and just bring them with me and wherever I was. That was before this map and the idea of let's target a neighborhood or
Mhm.
something and see how it works. But I was like, gosh, if I did 100 and each person did 100, some of them would be meetings that you guys went to. Some of them would be organizations that were involved in, and, but I like the whole idea of actually reaching
Targeting
out to
neighborhood.
specific
Yeah, I
neighborhood.
think that's very wise.
Okay.
We could follow it up at our cow meeting.
Right. Anything else? Jean?
Nope, I'm done.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Trustee reports, is necessary, anybody have a report?
I guess I would just ask, are we done with the windows? I forgot to ask you in your report.
Oh, I think last time I did say they're repairing, they came on Friday during that huge giant storm we had, and actually, swapped a few of them out. There's a few more that they have to do, but yeah, basically they're all done. We have someone on Wednesdays who comes in, and if it rains, we're having him paint. And if you notice, at the bottom of all the windows, there's now an extra windowsill. So we're gonna have him go through and paint all the windowsills.
This is a young man that came to us for community service that applied for
I asked him to apply.
yeah.
We
But,
had
I
hired-
mean, you never know who's gonna come into his community service, but it was nice to get.
He seemed to be, we actually had picked a different community service person who had come through, but he didn't show up at all. So then there was another one, what?
Just probably he was doing community service. too.
Yeah, but figured if we were gonna pay him, he actually would show up, but he did not. He didn't even call and say he wasn't. But then another young man came in, and he was talking about how he needed a little bit of extra money and what he was doing, and he seemed to be, he's brought a little bit of amusement to us. He's funny. His name is Vinny, and if you ever see him on a Wednesday, he'll be cutting the grass and doing other little odds and ends for us on Wednesdays. All right. Consideration and review of the bills. Can I get a motion to approve the prepaid bills?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Would you please call the roll?
Sure. I thought the perfect time.
Okay.
Prepaid, and that was the last. Trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
trustee Delmar,
Aye.
trustee McNeil,
Aye.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye. Do I have a motion to approve the outstanding bills?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
I left the tape recorder in the office, I gotta write everything down. Trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
trustee Delmar,
Aye.
trustee McNeil,
Aye.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye.
Excellent.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is, thought we covered this at the last meeting, but I guess there was no vote. So, I didn't wanna go forward on that without an actual vote. So, we had approved, oh my gosh, SJB for it, we just need a vote. Do I get a motion to approve bathroom remodel?
I will move the approval for bathroom remodeling services not to exceed $10,000.
Do I get a second?
I'll second
Any discussion? All right, roll call please.
So second. Trustee DeGrove,
Aye.
trustee Delmer,
Aye.
trustee McNeil,
it.
trustee Larson,
Aye.
supervisor Rush.
Aye. We're gonna jump ahead, just because we have a couple of people in the audience. We have, we have old business, why don't we jump to old business? Do we have any old business?
Just a reminder that for our PAL meeting, anybody who still has any questions on how to complete a SWOT analysis, please feel free to contact me one-on-one at some point. I will be happy to dumb it down a little bit.
And Chris has also offered to stay late after this meeting to help set up so that we can get the, GA program going, so I appreciate that. I do have one other question, Chris. This was just asked as I was walking out the door today. You've set up the new server. There is still the server that is listed in Jeannie's office. Is that doing anything?
I don't know, because we haven't had Highland Solutions come out to
Okay,
do anything else at this point.
okay, just asking.
Once we have the virtual GA software installed, we should probably have them out,
Okay,
determine if we need to maintain the old server, transfer to the new one, keep them running in tandem, whatever their recommendation is gonna be.
okay, all right. Any other old business?
Well, on that subject, so that unit is always gonna be noisy and hot in the trustee's office.
It's noisy and hot, yes, and the trustee's office is still up for debate. I thought originally we were gonna try
We're
and
going
put it
to
in the
move it,
closet.
Would it get too
What
hot in the closet?
It could or it could not, depending on how we vent that room
Okay.
and whatnot.
Because it's kind of an interior room, it's
Yeah,
not very easy to vent. The only way we'd be able to do is something above the door
yeah,
if needed. Okay,
or something in the ceiling tiles or what have you.
Okay.
No, the intent is not to keep it in the trustee's office forever.
Okay.
any other old business?
I just had a question about the donation committee. Did they meet?
Did not. We were going to meet, I will get with Bill and we'll meet before the next meeting. We actually only have still the two and nobody's been. I do have one other thing under new business. I didn't bring the booklet in with me, but I will show it to you. Each of the villages puts out this little booklets and it's a community guide. There's one for Round Lake Beach and there's one for Grays Lake. Those are the two that have asked us to put something in it. There is a cost to put something in there. However, this is something that goes out to the chamber and it does, if you're brand new to the villages, they do kind of give them out to you. As a matter of fact, when I moved in to my house, this was my guide to know where everything was because there's maps in it. And this is where I knew where the village was and where everything else is and where the schools were and the park districts and blah, 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 blah. So it is a good tool to have. So I'm going to, I think at the cow meeting, I'll have a brochure so that we can look at them and discuss possibly the pricing on these things, because I do think we should, if we're not doing, outside advertising, then that would be something good to do. The other thing I was looking into was something like Constant Contact. I know that you said there's some things other than Constant Contact, so if there's something that we can come up, I'd really like to come up with an online newsletter. We could link it off of our website, and we can send out an online newsletter every month.
Good.
What about this advertising with the chili supper, you have the information?
That's the two things for, that we have to go through.
But it has to be by the 12th, otherwise it can't go on
Oh, when?
September.
Well, we'll look over it, and then if we need to, we'll go in advance and see if we can discuss it. Anything else? Any public participation?
Well,
I'm sorry.
I thought we were still in old business. New business. Just some casual conversations, in fact, before this meeting was, a lot of things happened last weekend. And everybody's like, why did all these villages have all these events all at the same time? Is there any role that the township can play to strive towards establishing some kind of community clearinghouse or bulletin board or something that if I'm doing something for Round Lake Heights, I call or I look at links on the township or something and I go, oh my gosh, Grace Lake is doing something, Haynesville's doing something.
If they send us something, we didn't receive any, I think we might have, I don't think we received anything, because I would have, when anything we get, I post it on the bulletin board for you. So there's really nothing that we received that we would know other than the communication and the signs up there, so.
Is there something we can do to reach out to the organizations and say, hey, like for instance?
We have, I have told them if they want things on our reader board, I'm happy to put things on our reader board. We can also put them on this bulletin board. The bulletin board that's in the hallway is meant for township things only. But we have, the bulletin boards out here that we are more than happy to put them up. We put brochures in our office as well, so I have let them know that, when they were doing the balloon thing for Grays Lake Chamber, we did have some things up because they sent it to me, so I have it, I send it out.
Are you talking about the, getting together with the municipalities to coordinate amongst the municipalities?
Well, not to a formal extent, to be more informal, that the township becomes a place that people refer to both ways.
Yeah.
Organizations and citizens, that they can say, oh, here's the place that has all the stuff that might look, everything's listed.
Yeah, we can have a local link, but most of the things that I found out via Jean's website, so Jean must be getting it through the press. They're letting the press know, not actual municipalities. So we can ask to be put on the list.
I don't know, I
The
just think
autism event
Jean's
was a
knows
private
it.
501c3, so you'd have to actually find out from those organizations, what their dates are. Like next week is the Hispanic one at the Civic Center, but again, that's not through the village, so the village wouldn't necessarily
Right.
give us those dates.
It's just nice.
Okay, well, if you wanna,
It's an idea to percolate.
okay, if you wanna try to come up with something like that, you're more than happy to.
And
Kind of
maybe in
community link.
participation, in public participation, Jean would have pointers on how to get all the information out to people.
Anything else?
Under new business,
Yes.
our October meeting is not the 13th, correct? 13th is Columbus Day.
It is, it has
Okay.
always been. If you wanna move it, I'll be happy to move it, but it always has been.
Nope, that's fine, I just,
Does
So it's
anybody have any
holidays,
issues
or-
with Columbus Day?
I'll be out of town, but not because it's Columbus Day.
only that, we, as our attorney reminded me earlier tonight, we're getting into levy season again. We should probably start up our finance committee meetings again in October before our regular meetings.
Okay, that's right.
And it's gotta be estimated 20 days before you pass the levy ordinance, so it's usually done at the meeting before. If we're planning on passing it at the November meeting, we should have the numbers ready for the October meeting.
So if you can start putting those meetings together, I'll be happy to send them out to everybody. Okay. Any other old or new business? Any participation? Okay, we'll get with you later, Jean, on how you figure that. It's through the press releases, isn't it, mostly?
Ready to go?
But,
We're gone?
yeah,